Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into something I find absolutely fascinating, the Eagle's Choice. It's a strategic reinvention model designed specifically for corporate leaders. We're going to explore what is honestly a pretty visceral, incredibly powerful metaphor for career transformation. If you've ever felt, stuck, stagnant, or maybe just a little too comfortable in your professional life, well, this is going to be extremely relevant and, I think, really eye-opening for you. So we've all heard the saying, right? No pain, no gain. But the right pain at the right time. I mean, it's practically a cliche at this point. But the absolutely crucial thing here is that while we all repeat it, most of us actively avoid the specific, targeted kind of pain that actually creates real, lasting change in our careers. Let's look at it this way. Imagine a majestic eagle reaching 40 years of age. It hits this intense, high-stakes biological crisis. Its beak becomes overgrown and curved. Its talons grow weak, dull, and brittle. Its feathers get thick, old, and just incredibly heavy. It literally gets physically stuck and cannot hunt the way it used to. It is quite literally a midlife crisis of survival. And this brings up a really stark life or death choice for the eagle. It can either cling to the old way of doing things, accept its failing body, and essentially die slowly, or it can choose to transform brutally. It's a highly deliberate, totally agonizing process, but it is the absolute only path forward if it wants to survive. So how exactly does an eagle pull this off? Well, first, it flies away to an isolated mountaintop. Second, it methodically smashes its overgrown beak against the hard rocks until it breaks off completely. Then it just waits in isolation for a new one to grow back. Step 3, it uses that brand new beak to actually pluck out its own weak talons. And finally, step 4, it rips out all those heavy old feathers. It's this methodical, brutal stripping away of dead weight to entirely rebuild its hunting tools. 150. Just think about that number for a second. The eagle must endure 150 days of excruciating pain. That's roughly 5 months of hiding away, highly vulnerable, completely breaking itself down, just to survive. But look at the payoff here. This is basically the ultimate return on investment. 150 days of absolute agony is traded for 30 more years of life and renewed relevance. That short-term, brutal pain earns it decades of soaring all over again. Now, you might be wondering, okay, why are we talking about this animal metaphor today? Well, because executives and professionals face the exact same choice. Real career transformation works the exact same way. It requires auditing your current skills, completely stripping away your dead habits, and rebuilding your tools so you can actually fly again in the modern market. Let's dive into what this actually looks like in the office. We call it the quiet decline. And honestly, the symptoms are incredibly insidious. Your energy drops, but your schedule stays totally full, which gives you this grand illusion of productivity, right? Your respect among peers starts to drop, but your job title stays exactly the same, giving you a false sense of security. Meanwhile, the market is rapidly moving on, leaving you in the dust while you just stay, quote-unquote, busy. And here is exactly where we tend to go wrong. We usually know, deep down, that something is off. We recognize the outgrown role, the outdated skills, the shrinking relevance. But the fatal mistake? It's always timing. People delay making the hard decisions until they are completely exhausted, sidelined by newer talent, or flat out replaced. And by the time the pain is finally visible to everyone else, well, your options are vastly reduced. So I want to force a little active self-reflection right now. Have you outgrown your current role or just your comfort? Let that sink in for a beat. Are you genuinely tapped out of potential in your position, or are you just avoiding the next step because, well, breaking the beak is going to require some really hard, painful work? Here's another vital question for you. Do you need reinvention or simply recovery and rest? This distinction is absolutely everything. You have to differentiate between temporary burnout, where, a 2-week vacation actually fixes things, and a structural career crisis, where your very talents and feathers are simply no longer fit for the modern hunt. And one final question to ask yourself, is your discomfort a warning to stop or a signal to grow? You can't outsource these questions to a mentor or an HR rep. You've got to answer them for yourself. And more importantly, you must answer them with your actions, not just your intentions. Which brings us to a really stark warning. Do not lose years stuck in confusion and fear. If you're a mid-career professional watching this explainer right now, please do not wait for the market to violently force this transformation upon you. You absolutely do not have to waste years of your life feeling stuck, anxious, and increasingly irrelevant. Because ultimately, when you boil it down, you only have two approaches: designing with intent versus reacting in panic. Designing with intent means you begin your transformation early, while you still have your strength, your market relevance, and multiple options on the table. Reacting in panic means waiting until your beak is completely useless. An early, honest reinvention is hands down the best job security you will ever build for yourself. So, how do you actually design with intent? Well, enter the Corporazen framework, founded by Gurmeet Singh, who brings 3 decades of hard-earned experience in HR and strategy to the table. This framework was built precisely to help professionals navigate this exact transition. It's all about reinvention, with guidance rather than just fumbling around with guesswork. And what does that guidance actually look like in practice? Well, it targets highly practical skills to equip leaders for today's rapidly changing corporate world. We're talking about mastering corporate etiquette, navigating high-stakes interviews and transitions, building really robust cultures and effective hybrid working models, and ultimately developing practical leadership that actually works when the pressure is truly on. Which brings us to our final and probably most provocative question. Will you start your transformation before you are forced to? Remember the eagle. Take charge of your career today while you still have the strength to choose the mountaintop. If this metaphor resonated with you, please repost this explainer so it can reach the leaders in your network who might really need to hear it right now. Don't wait. Make the choice to fly again.